Alright, so just got done with Midnight Mayhem down there in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I ran both cars. I drove the GT-R and the Z06, and I just wanted to talk while it's fresh in my mind the differences between the two cars. For the first time taking them to the track, as somebody who doesn't own the cars, who just got in both of them and took them for a spin. So starting with the GT-R, as you can imagine, it's a lot more forgiving of a car. It's a lot easier to drive. You just push it up on the two outside buttons to engage the launch control, put your foot on the brake, hammer down the throttle all the way to the floor, and it'll rev to about 4 grand, and then you just let go of the brake and go. And my first pass was 11.02, so I mean, I was almost a 10-second pass first time I ever got in the car and drove it. Things I liked about the car, the gauges in the car, in the GT-R, you have the big tachometer right in the middle, and you have that same thing on the Z06. But the Z06 is all electronic. It's like a computer screen with a computer needle. You know, it's not a physical needle. And I really like the GT-R's needle a lot better. For some reason, it just sticks out a little bit differently. Just kind of a 3D thing, I guess you'd say. And so you can see it a lot better instead of it all blending in as one computer screen. So that was what I liked about the GT-R. And I'll tell you, it was like warp speed with this thing. It just took off and just kept me planted the whole time. And just shifting super fast and very easy to control and straight, minor corrections, and I could keep it going straight down the track, and very confident. So then I switched over and got into the Z06, and I tell you, no matter what kind of launch control or anything that we used on that car, it was just like ice. You will have to either have a ton of practice or get a drag radial, or I don't even know if you can fit a slick on there. You probably could. I don't know with how big the rear brakes are. They probably have some setup for it, but yeah, it was just like being on ice, no matter how light I got onto it. And that's pretty much what it came down to, is even if you decided to leave off of idle and somewhat get good traction enough to get the car going, the GT-R is going to be 3 cars ahead of you by the time you both launch. It's incredible. And so this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in a different video, that you know, real world, 2 people get into both of these cars, the GT-R will make you a hero every time, because it does all the work, and it's all-wheel drive, all traction. Z06 though will give you that feeling when you finally master it, that you've become a better driver. So there will be a little more pride, is what I was thinking driving the Z06. I thought, you know, once I do get this thing mastered down, it would take a while, and you know, a few more parts on there, and you know, then you're going to have a lot more pride that you've learned to conquer the car. So that's something to keep in mind between the 2 cars. And we haven't done a roll race between the 2 as of yet, but anyway, I don't know, the GT-R also today was a lot more popular everywhere. Driving down the road, people were slowing down and looking at this car and pretty much ignoring the Z06 in front of us. And the Z06 is bright red and this is white, so I think you even had more color. You know, you're probably drawn to the other one more for the color as well. But after we both pulled up, after the runs of racing the 2 cars side by side, we had a lot of people come over and talk to us about the GT-R, but we didn't have one. I heard one person mention, hey, that's a Z06, and that's it. So it depends on who's out and who's racing and what they're doing. And you know, maybe it has a lot to do that we just parked in the right area. But from my perspective today, I was seeing the GT-R get a lot more attention, and it performed a lot better. I mean, both cars did great, no issues. But as far as output of numbers, real world comparison, if you buy both of them off the showroom floor, the GT-R is going to perform a little better, and for the average person. So I can't speak generally for everybody, because there's other people who have a lot of experience racing, and maybe they could do a lot better getting in the car for the first time. But anyway, that was the experience for the two cars today. Both great cars. They both pulled very hard and had their advantages. One thing I wanted to mention about the GT-R that I really like after driving both of them is the Z06 has very circular door panels. So when you put your arm forward, it pushes you back like this, and you feel kind of cramped. The GT-R has a very nice flat area here that I really enjoy, just being able to put my arm down, and just, I feel like I have a lot more space in it. Z06, the C7, you know, it has big fenders that you see, which is part of its design, and that's fine. But this car is a lot more visible. You sit a little higher in the GT-R, and so it all comes down to preference. And you know, I mean, a Corvette's a Corvette, and you know, so there's a good argument on both sides. But anyway, I really enjoyed this opportunity to go down and race these two cars. I really can't believe that I was able to do that. It was a lot of fun, and so anyway, let me know what you think. If you have a Z06 or if you have a GT-R, go ahead and put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about the two cars head to head, or what modifications that you would definitely need for the Z06. I'm going to say at least a drag radial or a slick to begin with, or air the tires down quite a bit. And anyway, that's kind of what came to mind for me driving both cars today. That was my impression. To go back a little bit on the Z06, it was you know, a lot like my Mustang, and I've driven my Mustang at the track with and without slicks, or with and without drag radials, and so it was a lot like that. You just start spinning, so you let up and then regain traction, put the